Good morning. Welcome to the worship service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Monterey Peninsula. My name is Steve Johnson, and I'm currently serving as a member of the church's Board of Trustees. Whoever you are, wherever you are in your life's journey, you are welcome here. We acknowledge and honor that we gather on land sacred to the Ohlone, Esselen, Rumsen, Mutsun, and Salinan indigenous peoples and First Nations. We recognize the need to continue the work to reconcile and repair the harms of oppression and colonization. If you are a visitor here today, we invite you to raise your hand so we can welcome you. Anybody want to pass up? All right. Glad to have you. We also encourage you to fill out a yellow visitor card, which is available in the welcome hall, that large space out there. If you are a Zoom visitor, hi. Please fill out a virtual visitor card, and the link will be posted here in the chat. You are also welcome to introduce yourself in the Zoom chat session. Our co-ministers, Reverends Lane and Axel Gehrman, are away on vacation and study time. Today's service is entitled The Stories We Tell Each Other and is led by worship associates Shannon Morrison and Ann Jacobson and guest worship associate Maren Martin. A special UUCMP welcome to our guest musicians, Tim Kroll and Arthur Wu. Hi, guys. Our greeters today are Nellie Jane Ryder and Gretchen Hausman. Our ushers are Wanda Parrott and Martin Scarrett. Thanks to you all for your participation and contributions to our service this morning. This year's annual UUCMP Big Sur Campout will be on Friday, August 25th to Sunday, August 27th. The sign-up sheet and registration form can be found only on the church website. And the submissions are due no later than August 1st. That's Tuesday. That's 2 days from now. If you haven't done it yet, you're way behind. Let's get with it. If you have any questions, Carrie Sissom is in the back of the room. Be sure to check out our new art exhibit in the Welcome Hall. Craig Lovell's exhibit, Journey to the Mystic East, will be on view now through September 24th. Is Craig here to take a bow? Hey, there he is.
So I just wanted to say, I'm doing a walkthrough at noon, but I can also do it for you folks right after the service in case you're moving on with your day. So I'll be...
Craig will be around to accept accolades and answer your questions. Thank you to all who supported Jill Marshall in her Eagle Scout project. Her painting and refurbishment of the Emerson Room is now complete. If you would like to see the completed project, please come to our Emerson Room open house next Sunday, August 6th, after the service. Our Super Flea Rummage and Bake Sale returns this year on Friday and Saturday, September 1st and 2nd, was set up on Wednesday and Thursday, August 29th and 30th. Please sign up at the Super Flea table in the Welcome Hall or talk to Lauren Keenan or Mibbs McCarthy, who are both circulating and, well, they're seated now, but they will circulate later. Have you thought of any angels among us? Hold that thought and be ready to share starting in August. More details about all our church programs and activities can be found in our weekly e-newsletter and on our website. This month's shared offering recipient is Community Human Services of Monterey County. Checks made out to UUCMP with Community Human Services, or just CHS, in the memo line, and half of today's cash offering will benefit this important organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And now we invite those of you in the sanctuary to turn and wave to the people joining us on Zoom over there. And now, whether you're on Zoom or here in person, please take just a moment to greet your neighbor or neighbors. Hi.
Just FYI, Charlie's gonna light the chalice. I'm not sure which one of us, but Charlie Morrison.
Charlie, I hope, okay, Charlie. Oh, but you're,
It's me.
you, okay. And now, as we enter into a spirit of contemplation and worship, we ask that you please hold any applause until the end of the service. And now, please enjoy our beautiful prelude.
Which is in German, and therefore I will give you the English translation with my very bad English German accent, which would be saying, Der Herr segne euch je mehr und mehr und euch eure Kinder, which is, may the Lord bless you more and more, both you and your children. All right.
Thank you, Tim, Arthur, and Lucy. That was absolutely beautiful.
No applause.
Our call to worship this morning is by Lee Kinvey, and it's called a true story. A burst of sunlight appears through leafy branches. This chalice is for the living, the changing, the becoming. This chalice is for losing the script of your life, the chapters about who you are in other people's stories. This chalice is for the lost GPS that was supposed to show you how to get where they expected you to go. This chalice is for skipping the directions, coloring outside the lines, painting not by number, but by silence, by wild abandon, with a brush you made yourself from light deep inside. Startling, vivid, a new voice that already knows you. Finally, a true story. And now, please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our gathering song, number 392 in the Gray hymnal, Hine Matov. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet ahim yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet ahim yachad. Hine Matov, shevet ahim yachad.
With Unitarian Universalists around the world, we light our chalice, a symbol of our faith, and our covenant of aspirations of love, hope, and justice. I apologize, I think this is truncated. In a moment, I will begin, and then please join in the response as Charlie lights the flame. We gather together as a community of memory and hope to celebrate life in its infinite possibilities for love. We light this chalice as a symbol of hope in every human heart. May our individual sparks meet and merge, bringing both light and warmth to the world. And now, please enjoy our story for all ages. This week's story for all ages is called A Flicker of Hope. It was written by Julia Cook and illustrated by Mackenzie Haley. And it goes like this. Have you ever felt like I do? My flame used to be bright and strong, but now it's just a flicker. I have all of these dark clouds hovering over me, but they don't feel like clouds. To me, they feel like mountains. I try hard to push them away, but they keep coming back, and I'm just so tired of trying. You know, a brighter flame could Lighten up those heavy clouds of yours. Then they'd be easier to push away. You can see them too? No, those are your clouds. Only you can see them. But I can tell your flame isn't very bright right now. How do you know? It's not the how I know that matters. It's the what I know. Looks like you could use a little boost of hope. How'd you do that? Since you are standing right underneath your clouds, all you can see is dark. They may seem impossible to move. But when you reach out for help, others can share their gifts with you. Amazing things can happen when we use our gifts. Gifts? What gifts? I don't have any gifts. Your unique light is your priceless gift. No one can light up the world around you like you can. Well, I can't light up anything around me right now. I don't have it in me. Why? Well, because I can't do anything right. I'm never going to be good enough. And who I want to become seems impossible. And you should hear what people say about me. Bad things. Awful things. Are they true? No, but they may as well be. Everyone thinks they are. Oh, and to top it off, someone who really matters to me isn't here anymore. Today is it's really hard, and I don't see how tomorrow's going to get any better. In fact, it might even be worse. I'm running out of hope. Then let me give you another little boost. Wow, look how beautiful your light is. When your clouds get too dark and too heavy to push away, reach out and ask, "Can I borrow some light? I'm having a really bad day." Hope builders are everywhere, but only you can see your clouds. So grab some courage and ask for help. And don't worry about being too proud. It's always okay to admit to yourself, "I just can't do it today." Everyone needs somebody sometimes to help them find their way. But what if they say no? Then ask somebody else. And you keep asking a bunch of different ways until you find someone who says yes. Just don't ever stop asking. You have to find a way to stay lit, no matter what. Why? Because if your flame goes out, you might not be able to relight it, and that would be the saddest thing ever. Why? When a flame goes out before its time, the hearts that are left behind are broken forever. Flames that go dark too early leave many gifts which never get shared. And that's so unfair. You are beautiful, and you have a purpose and very special gifts, even if you might not know what those are yet. But really, how do you know all this stuff? Because sometimes I have dark clouds hovering over me too, but they don't feel like clouds. To me, they feel like mountains. Only I can see them. I try hard to push them away, but they keep coming back. My flame turns into a flicker, but it's a flicker of hope. Even though it seems like I can't do anything right, and I feel like I'm never going to be good enough. And who I want to become seems impossible. And even though people say awful things about me that aren't true, everyone believes them. Oh, and someone who really matters to me isn't here anymore. So I tell myself that I'm needed. I remind myself that I matter. I have special gifts to share with others. I choose to believe the world is better with my light in it. And I know I need some help sometimes, so I ask. And I keep asking. And I keep reaching out to others until I find someone who can share their flame with me and give me strength and a little boost of hope. Then, amazing things happen to both of us. So when I saw your flame, I just knew I needed to give you a little boost of hope. See, that's what a hope builder does. When you share your light, one little candle can grow into a whole hope-building community. You know, a brighter flame can light up those heavy clouds of yours. Then they'd be easier to push away.
You can see them too?
No, they're your clouds. Only you can see them. But I can tell your flame isn't very bright right now.
How do you know?
It's not the how I know that matters. It's the what I know. It looks like you could use a little boost of hope. And that is the end. Please join in our song of parting as the children and youth follow their teachers and head to their classes.
Recently, while walking with a friend, I described the various endeavors I was working on, including a then upcoming chanting workshop at the library and planning for today's service. She thought both sounded interesting and asked me if I was having fun planning for them. No, I immediately replied, even though I'm not working and I don't have a family at home anymore, and both events are still a couple of weeks away, I feel anxious and stressed and like I don't have enough time to do a good job with either. Then, boom, it hit me. My whole life, I've told myself that I'm short on time to accomplish the things I want to do. Whether it was balancing homework and extracurricular activities as a student, getting everything done at work and balancing that with family responsibilities and other interests, or now in retirement, balancing routine maintenance tasks with developing and nurturing relationships and participating in other activities that interest me, I've always felt crunched for time and like I wouldn't be able to do a good job as a result, even when objectively it really wasn't an issue, and everything ultimately always worked out beautifully. As Marin and Shannon have learned, I'm a planner and a list maker. In some ways, that's a good thing. It helps me keep track of what I want and need to do, and it gives me a satisfying sense of accomplishment when all of those boxes are neatly checked off. But it has a downside in that it creates a sense of pressure and reinforces my internal story that I have to carefully manage my time because it's in very short supply. It also makes me a bit of a joke among my friends who can't fail to notice that a walking or lunch date with me usually requires weeks of advanced planning. In the days since I had that conversation with my friend and my resultant epiphany about my internal story about time being scarce, I've tried a two-pronged experiment. First, every time I start to feel that edge of panic about not having enough time, I take a moment to gently and reassuringly say this mantra to myself a few times. I have enough time to do whatever I want and need to do. And second, when an opportunity comes up to do something I haven't planned for, like a walk with a neighbor, a spontaneous conversation with a family member or friend, or an invitation to lunch, instead of giving in to my habitual feeling of dread or even panic about my lack of time, I'm trying to say yes to the unexpected opportunity, and I repeat my new mantra. I have enough time to do whatever I want and need to do. And you know what? I think it's working. I'm still successfully accomplishing what I need to, and I'm enjoying myself more and fretting a little bit less. One of the consequences of telling myself the story that I don't have enough time is that I'm rarely able to enjoy just being in the moment. Whatever I'm doing, no matter how interesting or fun, I usually have this nagging feeling about the other things on my plate that I need to get done. However, in the past few years, I've developed a strong interest in sung chanting, which I do almost every day. And it turns out that this is a wonderful practice for me to experience staying present in the moment. And I think it's helping also. So I'm feeling hopeful with my awareness of the false story I've been telling myself and my new practices of rewriting the story with a positive mantra, saying yes to unexpected opportunities, and an almost daily chanting practice. Perhaps I'm on my way to feeling a little bit more spacious with my time and confident in my ability to accomplish what I want to. How about you? Do you have a story you've been telling yourself that hasn't been serving you? If so, is there a way you can rewrite that story in your head to be something more useful, like my mantra that I have enough time? Are there other tools and practices that might help you? These are the things we are hoping today's service will inspire you to explore. And now, please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
We tell our story.
So I think about this topic a lot. The older I get, I like to think I'm becoming more aware of the stories that I'm telling myself about others and the stories I tell myself about myself. Some of the most powerful stories are the ones that become embedded in our minds from an early age. A teacher, parent, or family member may have shared an observation or given you a label, such as brave, creative, smart, kind, clumsy, flaky, stupid, incapable. And sometimes those labels turn into stories that we continue to tell ourselves about ourselves. These stories can be encouraging or limiting, depending on how you think about them. So what is a story that you tell yourself about yourself when you make a mistake? For some, when a mistake is made, they might simply accept the mistake, say, whoops, and move on, correcting the course. For others, a mistake could completely derail a project, a whole day, or worse, as rumination sets in and an inner critic gets louder and louder. At an early time in my life, I was called a space cadet, forgetful, flaky. So sometimes when I make a mistake, it's not simply a mistake. Sometimes it triggers a story mode, empowering my inner critic with evidence. Now, not only do I have a mistake to correct, but my mood, my self-esteem, my energy levels all become impacted. A few weeks ago, I found myself elbow deep, sorting through boxes out in the garage, feeling tired, but really proud to have cleaned out more than half of the garage with my husband. It wasn't until 2:35 in the afternoon that I stepped inside, looked at the clock, and realized I was meant to be on a Zoom call with Marin and Anne at 2 o'clock. Immediately, story mode was triggered, and the negative thoughts just began to wash over me. How could I have forgotten? I am such a flake. What's wrong with me? And much harsher words. My inner critic had a heyday. So I scrambled to sign on to Zoom, catching the last 4 minutes before our free 40-minute period expired. The window promptly closed before my stream of apologies and explanations even finished. I felt awful. I had myself pretty worked up. I was creating more suffering by letting my story mode take over, like I had power over it. I didn't have power over it then. After talking on the phone with Anne, who calmly caught me up on what she and Marin had discussed, I still felt terrible, but I began to relax. Once my mind was calm, I recognized, wait a minute, I'm telling myself some really unkind stories. I took several calming breaths, and then suddenly I had a really positive thought. I have an example for my reflection. As humans, we are going to make mistakes. That's part of living and learning. I'm just going to hold this for a second. There's an old adage that says, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. The Dalai Lama reflects on this idea in the book of Joy. He says, so much of our unhappiness originates from within our own mind. Sorry. Ooh, I'm a little out of order here. I apologize. Here we go. So much of our unhappiness originates within our own mind and heart, in how we react to the events in our lives. He suggests that we attempt to build mental immunity. Mental immunity, the Dalai Lama explained, is just learning to avoid the destructive emotions and develop positive ones. Some of these thoughts and emotions are harmful, even toxic, while others are healthy and healing. So, how do we just retrain our brain and rewrite our stories? It can be hard to get off the negative train of thought and shift into positive thinking. and shared a positive mantra she's using to replace some of her negative stories. But I have another great tool, affirmations. How many of you have heard of affirmations? Awesome. Yes. So I first learned about affirmations back in the early 90s. I was going through adolescence at the time, and it was presented to me as an activity where I, as a 13-year-old girl, was to stand in front of the mirror, look myself in the eye, and say proudly, "I'm okay. I like me. Everybody likes me." I have to say that as a 13-year-old girl, that was not only impossible to say, but just the idea of doing something like that, mortifying. Back at age 13, my biggest influence were my friends, and definitely the music that was playing on the radio and MTV. Grunge, punk, hip-hop. Often these songs were far from positive. Introspective, political, intense, to be sure, but not positive. In a moment, I want to quote Calvin Cordozar Brodus Jr., better known as Snoop Doggy Dogg in my youth. Snoop's career was on the rise in the early to mid-90s. He had been a drug-dealing gang member transformed into a rap hip-hop superstar. Now, he's a proud father and grandfather and still a relevant cultural icon. Did anybody see him in Super Bowl 2022? Halftime show? Anyone? Yes. Okay, with you. You did. I encourage you, this is written in here, I encourage you to Google him after the service if he's not on your radar. So, one of his latest projects was writing a song for young children, like preschool children. It's called The Affirmation Song. And I'm going to invite us to hear a little bit of it. And by hear, I mean participate together. So it's going to require audience participation on some of it. There's a bit of a call and response. But let's start off with a beat. We're going to go a little bit like this. Can't believe I'm doing this. Affirmations are positive statements that help us to challenge and overcome. When you're not feeling good and have negative thoughts, so repeat after me. Come on, everyone. There is no one better to be than myself. There's no one better to be than myself. Today's going to be an amazing day. Today's going to be an amazing day. My feelings matter. My feelings matter. I get better every single day. I get better every single day. I choose to feel happy. I choose to feel happy. I learn from my mistakes. I learn from my mistakes. Okay, I'll stop us there. You guys did great. That was awesome. I just want to just share a few more examples from the song's 15 affirmations. Again, these are for children, but anyone who hears them gets to keep them. I am responsible. I get better every single day. I deserve to feel good. I control my own happiness. I mean, these are revolutionary words to be putting in these kinds of thoughts into young people's minds at such an early age. Not only has Snoop rewritten his story, he's planting seeds of positivity in young minds. And not to mention normalizing and rebranding affirmations. This is just one of the ways he's working to help others. I want to take a moment and acknowledge, I'm sure some of your inner critics are going, that affirmations and positive thinking alone will not solve a problem or correct a mistake. But they do have the power to help us change our stories, to work towards self-acceptance. As a mom and someone who works with young people, I am grateful to be parenting in a time where the affirmation song has been created. I hope that early exposure to positive thinking will help future generations to rewrite negative stories in their minds and in our world. These are the kids who are going to be coming of age through the unfolding of climate change and so many other challenges ahead. So yeah, these stories, they've been on my mind, consciously, unconsciously, while I'm raising 2 boys. I wonder how my stories might become theirs, how my negative criticisms or my positive affirmations might become part of their own inner voice and the stories they tell themselves. Thank you. I think I have something else. Sorry.
Thank you, Shannon. This is the time that we set aside each week to take a breath and pause and think about what's been happening this week in our lives and in the lives of those we care about, the people we love, whether they're close by or far away, and what's been happening in the world. Our Caring Network shares one concern and one joy for this week. Concern for the family of Sue Ellen Stringer, who died peacefully on July 24th with her son Gavin at her side. Sue Ellen was a worship associate for the past few years, and we got to know her here in the pulpit through her beautiful poetry and her thoughtful sharing about her interesting, and I think it's safe to say challenging life. She was a very creative and courageous person, and she will be greatly missed. And we also have a joy for Jill Marshall, who celebrates her 18th birthday soon. And we also heard about her Eagle Scout accomplishments, which is certainly another joy. Please make sure to sign the cards for Sue Ellen's family and for Jill after the service at the Caring Network table. We each bring our own joys and sorrows this morning, which are on our minds and in our hearts. We invite any of you so moved to come forward using both outside aisles and drop a pebble representing your individual joys and concerns into our shared waters of love and support. And if you're joining us via Zoom, you may write a joy or concern in the chat.
This week, we are inviting you to take a moment during our meditation and prayer to think about the stories you tell yourself about others and the stories you tell yourself about yourself. You should have received a pencil and a note card as you came in. If you do not have a pencil or note card or something to write with, please raise your hand and we'll make sure that Martin can help you, or one of us if you're towards the front. We've got, just raise it high and we'll make sure we get you some note cards. Thank you.
Keep your hand up.
Yes, please keep your hand up until you're straight back in. Yeah. Thank you. Now, please close your eyes, and I'm going to ask a series of questions. And what I'd invite you to do is to write down the first word that comes to mind, not the second or third. The first one's usually the gut instinct. The first question: something I love about myself is. Go ahead and write that down. Just the one word. Others mostly see me as. Please write down the second word. And the last question: something I struggle with is. Go ahead and write down the third word if you haven't done so already. In the week ahead, we encourage you to refer back to this card, these words that came up for you. What are the stories that come along with these words, these labels? Are these stories serving you, or are they limiting you in any way? I invite us to all take a deep breath in together. And breathing in together, we recognize that we are in a place of hope builders. We are safe as we sit in this sanctuary. Breathing in again. And out, we release any negative stories which no longer serve us. Breathing in, we receive the strength to rewrite our stories. Thank you.
Now is the time for our morning offering. We encourage you to think about your financial support for this church and the resources that the church needs to carry out our good work. We encourage those of you who are at home to write a check and drop it in the mail. Or use the donate button on the library's website. That's going way back, on the church's website. Any checks that you so designate in the memo line, and half of our cash collection will support our shared offering recipient this month, which is Community Human Services. On behalf of this congregation, mindful of our responsibility to use your gifts wisely, we thank you for your generosity. And now, please enjoy our offertory music as the offering is received.
I'm very inspired by today's theme. Can you hear me? Because I was born and raised in the 60s as a Roman Catholic in a Catholic school, and it was the time when the nuns had lots of stories about us that were sometimes physically violent. So years of therapy, and in the 80s when I was living in LA, I happened upon a little cable channel, and this woman was lecturing on love, and her name was Marianne Williamson. So I discovered her way back when she was doing little lectures in Santa Monica, and I went to them. So, and you know, her best-selling book is, does anybody know the title? Well, right, she's a Course in Miracles lecturer, but her biggest best-selling book is A Return to Love. And it's, you know, love is so overused, but in fact, I think one of the fundamental answers to how do I really feel better is to seek for love, look for love. As one therapist once said, come from good and no one can touch you, including yourself, to yourself. Okay, enough. I'll be doing more lecturing after the service. Thank you. Love is not proud. Love does not boast. Love, after all, matters the most. And love does not run. Love does not hide. And love does not keep locked inside. Love is a river that flows through, and love never fails you. Love will sustain, love will provide, love will not cease at the end of time. And love will protect. Love always hopes. And love still believes when you don't. Love is the arms that are holding you. And love never fails you. When my heart won't make a sound, when I can't turn back around, when the sky is falling down, nothing is greater than this, greater than this. 'Cause love is right here. Love is alive. Love is the way, the truth, the life. Love is the river that flows through. Love is the arms that are holding you. And love is the place you will fly to. Love never fails you. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you. And now, as our ushers come forward, please join in our offertory response.
We bring ourselves as gifts
generous gifts.
This is our
Our reading this morning is excerpted from Rising Strong by Brené Brown. The most dangerous stories we make up are the narratives that diminish our inherent worthiness. We must reclaim the truth about our lovability, divinity, and creativity.
lovability. Many of Brené's research participants who had gone through a painful breakup or divorce, or had been betrayed by a partner, or experienced a distant or uncaring relationship with a parent or family member, spoke about responding to their pain with a story about being unlovable. A narrative questioning if they were worthy of being loved. This may be the most dangerous conspiracy theory of all. If there's one thing learned over the last 13 years, it is this. 13 years of her research, it is this. Just because someone isn't willing to love us, it doesn't mean that we are unlovable.
Sorry, I don't want to block you, but here we go. Divinity. Research participants who shared stories of shame around religion had less in common than most people guess. No specific denomination has emerged as more shaming in my work. However, there is a strong pattern worth noting. Over half the participants who talked about experiencing shame in their faith histories also found resilience and healing through spirituality. The majority of them changed their churches or their beliefs, but spirituality and faith remain important parts of their lives. They believed that the sources of shame arose from the earthly, man-made, human-interpreted rules or regulations and the social and community expectations of religion, rather than their personal relationships with God or the divine. Our faith narratives must be protected, and we must remember that no person is ordained to judge our divinity or to write the story of our spiritual worthiness.
Creativity and ability. In Daring Greatly, Brené says, I write, one reason that I'm confident that shame exists in schools is simply because 85% of the men and women we interviewed for the shame research could recall a school incident from their childhood that was so shaming that it changed how they thought of themselves as learners. What makes this even more haunting is that approximately half of those recollections were what I refer to as creativity scars. The research participants could point to a specific incident where they were told or shown that they weren't good writers, artists, musicians, dancers, or something creative. This helps explain why the gremlins are so powerful when it comes to creativity and innovation. Like our lovability and divinity, we must care for and nurture the stories we tell ourselves about our creativity and ability. Just because we didn't measure up to some standard of achievement doesn't mean we don't possess gifts and talents that only we can bring to the world. Just because someone failed to see the value in what we can create or achieve doesn't change its worth or ours.
You're next.
Okay. I thought we were having a musical interlude, but evidently not. All righty. The word story, in the way that we're using it in today's service, is simply an interpretation of observable facts and events intended to give them meaning. Our mind likes meaning, and when it lacks information, it will make it up. I call this our story. No problem so far. It's a sign of human intelligence that we fill in the gaps or missing pieces. All humans do it. The potential problem occurs when we mistake our story for a fact, and I cannot tell you how common that is. The dictionary defines a fact as something that actually exists, reality, truth. It's what can actually be seen or heard, what could have been recorded on a video camera. Story, on the other hand, is defined as our narrative about the facts, and it's comprised of the assumptions and interpretations that we make. Our stories are colored by myriad things. For example, our beliefs, our past experience, definitely including childhood, our mood at the moment, our judgments, and our desires. Our stories have the ability to create a lot of emotional turmoil and suffering in us, as many of us know. I certainly do. Years ago, I gave a talk at the Monterey Public Library titled Change Your Story, Change Your Life. Yes, we can significantly change our life if we change the stories that we tell ourselves. Stephen Covey came up with the 90-10 principle that some of you may know. It proposes that just 10% of our life is made up of what happens to us, and 90% of our life is determined by how we react to what happens. We really have zero control over the 10%. The flight that gets canceled, the flat tire, the driver that cuts us off on the road. But our reaction, or the story we create, is completely under our control once we learn the skills necessary to control it. And that's where we want to put our attention and effort. Most of us are quite capable of creating stories about things that have never, ever happened and never will happen. How many of us have given ourselves the experience of having a terrible illness, of being rejected, or of losing someone or something dear to us? For instance, it's when I create a story of, this stitch in my right side is probably appendicitis, one that I have pulled out several times at 3 a.m, quickly jumping to thinking who I'll call to run me up to Trump for emergency surgery. I'm a very creative and dramatic story writer. Or a party that I'm throwing isn't going to go well. People aren't going to have fun. And how often has that actually happened at any of the parties that I've hosted? Not once that I know of, but it still comes up every time. Or I'm not going to make my flight. I will miss it. Won't get to the airport on time. Ever notice that most of us don't tend to create stories with positive outcomes? No, they're generally about catastrophes or things not going well. This is part of our well-known negativity bias, our mind preparing us for the worst-case scenario. For instance, how often do people think of a rainy day as bad weather? That interpretation of rain is a story. And if you believe that story, you are likely to feel disappointed or grumpy about it, and then you're quite likely to have a bad day. If you can let go of your story and just come back to the facts of the moment, it's simply raining. Now you're free to enjoy the sound of the rain, to cozy up inside, go outside in your fun rain boots, and to just feel gratitude for the fact that our planet is receiving some much-needed rain. Pia Mellody, whom some of you may be aware of, did some of the original conceptualizing of codependency and boundaries. She recounts a time when she was spinning a negative story based on no facts at all, and her husband, Pat, said to her, "There you go again, Pia, having your pain in advance." It's good. I love that phrase, and I often say it in my mind when I catch myself creating bad stories. There you go again, Maren, having your pain in advance. Along the same lines, my grandmother used to say, don't set a place at the table for trouble. Many of us have a permanent place set at our table in case trouble should show up. We'll be ready for it. Imagine who or what might like to show up at our table if that place weren't always reserved for trouble. If you were to do a data analysis of the number of times that those bad stories actually came through versus the times that they did not, I imagine the times that they don't wins by a large margin. At least that's true in my life. The problem is that our bodies react to our mind stories as though they're true. When I'm anxious about not getting to the airport on time and missing my flight, it causes my adrenal glands to flood my system with adrenaline and cortisol, the stress hormones. So my body actually experiences the missed flight that never happened. We've all heard, of course, of the damaging effects of stress on our health, and it seems like there's really good reason not to create such scary stories. For many of us, bad stories have become a bad habit. And like all habits, they can be changed with time and effort. That's the hopeful news. So in my life, I lean into and take inspiration from those among my friends who seem to have a positivity bias. They just assume good outcomes and that things will go well and work out just fine. And you know what? They generally do.
Thank you, Maren. And now, please rise as you're willing and able and join in singing number 90, From All the Fret and Fever of the Day.
Please join in the unison words as we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but take its light into our lives to be the presence of love in the midst of fear, the voice of hope in the face of despair, and the hands of justice restoring a world worthy of our children. And please imagine us all holding hands for our benediction. May we
tread softly,
Speak truthfully,
love gently,
breathe deeply,
live wisely,
be mindful of our stories and choose those that serve us.
and go in peace. Amen. And now, please enjoy our beautiful postlude.
my way, my truth, my life, such a way as gives us breath, such a truth as ends all strife, such a life as killeth death. Come, my light, my feast, my strength, such a light as shows a feast, such a feast as mends in length, such a strength as makes his guest. Come, my joy, my love, my heart, such a joy as none can move, such a love as none can part, such a heart as joys in love.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you, Lucy, for the beautiful music. Our worship service is over, but we invite you to join us in the Welcome Hall for coffee and conversation. And if you're on Zoom, you're welcome to stick around for a breakout room. Hope everybody has a wonderful Sunday. Thank you.
Oh, there he is. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's cool.
You must get people.